So Clive, it's
Yeah,
me
right.
now in the hot seat, like doing Aaron's job. It's just nice though. You know, no doubt you've been having a look at some of the previous episodes, Clive, of the showings of starting off with Who is Lionel Best. I'm sure you've learned a lot about me just looking at some of those episodes. We talk about me growing up as a youngster to a teenager, and I think a lot of these things are vital because they have helped shape the way Big is, and why Big is run the way it is run, and why I'm very big on making sure that certain standards and behaviors are imprinted in Big. So what we're going to start off with, Clive, just to test how much you've been watching and listening, we're going to start with a quiz about who is Lionel Best. Now, I'm only joking. I'm not going to make you suffer in that way. But what will be nice, Clive, is just to hear from you. Really, it's about you and your journey. Really, if we can just start off with, like, you know, if you can just share with us, like, how did you come into contact with Big? That'd be nice to really start from the very beginning. How did you come into contact with Big?
Yeah, that's interesting. Like I say, it was just one of those things. So my cousin Charmaine, who's you're going to see on the podcast as well, explaining her journey. She's started coaching, so I'll leave that there because that's going to be her journey. And she called me and just said that she's got some girls that needs a bit of coaching and stuff. The participants are getting there, and she just wants a little bit of guidance. She knew that I coached before, so it was just come down, have a look, look and feel, meet Lionel. He's a great guy, etc., etc. So there was it's just positive, you know what I mean? And I was sort of on a stage where I was eventually going to go back into coaching. So I said, let me use this opportunity to just test and feel it, you know, and see how we go. So that's where we started. It just started from a phone call from my cousin to come and help out.
It's good. I recall Charmaine speaking about yourself. I mean, and the interesting thing is, and you may or may not know, is that I know I was going through a phase and a journey where, and I still want Big to be represented by a lot of young coaches because it's young people that we serve, and I remember that conversation. It's right for the representation of young coaches to be embedded in Big, and to be the face of Big, so the youngsters that we serve can relate to. And it's interesting when Charmaine was speaking about her cousin Clive, because she knew that we were speaking quite a lot about that and trying to move to the next level and that. And she said, like, I know he's not as young as you want him, you're looking for, Lion, because I know you're looking for young coaches, but he's a really good coach. He's got the same sort of ethics and passion as you to like work in the community. He's done it before. He used to do coaching before, coaching his kids teams, etc. And when I think about it, because I know I was pondering on it, it's quite interesting looking back now, because it could have been a case of losing something really great, because I think you've come and you've not only a really important part of Big. When we started talking, it was quite clear, as Charmaine was saying, that you have got the very, very similar sort of passion to serve the community as myself, and the way I look at things in helping the youngsters, especially in football, but holistically as well. And it became clear that you can't develop and enhance what you're trying to do with just youngsters. You need more mature soldiers around you that's going to be helping with the burden, so to speak. And you know, I learned a long time ago, you know, you need to do things in community and work with people to meet your goal. So when I think about that, it's quite interesting because, you know, I'm not a fixed person anyway, and it's always nice to hear people out, etc. As soon as I spoke to you, it was quite clear that you was the right person to bring into Big and come and get involved and start doing some of your stuff.
The initial invitation from Charmaine, and then she gave me your number, and then it was, okay, speak to Lionel, you two talk, and, you know, get a little feel for each other, you know. So the first phone call, so I remember the first phone call, and you did say, ideally, you know, I'm looking for younger coaches, like, a lot of old school coaches are stuck in their ways, etc. You know what I mean? So I do remember that phone call, and you know, I said to you, I'm adaptable. You know, I've definitely got a new way of doing things and positive, and it's all about, you know, the youth of today, basically, not like, you know, old times, you know. So no, it's a good conversation, and he said to come down to one of your Thursday sessions, just to have a look as well. So this is before he got involved. Excuse me. So so I came down and had a look. You know, the setup was nice. The participants were at a standard. It was like, you know, nice, pleasant to see. It's like, okay, yeah, you know, I was like, yeah, you know, it gave you that sort of, this could be a nice place to be, you know. So from there, came down the following week to do the session with Charmaine and the girls, and it was like pleasantly surprising. And in that, I asked my daughter, who's never played football before, just said, like, you know, Charmaine's asked to help her participate in this. You know, Karis is there, Charmaine's daughter. So, you know, you have like someone you know there, who's going to come down and try it out. And, you know, surprisingly to me, she said yes. You know, she came down, liked it, went through the journey as well. So she became a participant of the program as well.
Can you tell me about your journey? I mean, if you're going to break down your journey in terms of, you know, you've just started it off by, you know, the girls' football, your daughter's joined. I mean, how long ago was that? How long have you been with Big and delivering different programs with Big, and what have you been doing? If you can share that with us.
So through doing the Thursday sessions, got invited by yourself to participate in holiday program. So through that holiday program, that was very sort of rewarding and demanding at the same time, you know. So it was like what is it? What's the word? You know, very enlightening. But you know, it sort of, the participants were challenging at the different stages, but ultimately just want to play football, and that's what it's about, you know. So it gives you that sort of element to it as well. And say my daughter came along to that program as well, started to improve, you know. So it started to, you start to look and see, and you can see that yes, football improves young people, socially, everything, you know, the whole package, you know, and, you know, just watching their journeys grow and stuff, you know. So
but you did mention, you know, I wonder if you want to say a little bit more about your old coaching days, because you did mention that you did want to get back into coaching at some point.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, what was you doing?
Yeah. You know, let's say my boy was playing football, and uh, yeah, like eventually got to sort of like a decent standard. I'm not going to mention the little clubs he was playing for, but he got to a decent level, and yeah, the team he was playing for, the coach asked me to help out. So from there, started helping out. After that, done sort of level one FA coaching, got into the club, and managed a team from under nines to under 14s. So that was a proper like journey, sort of, you know, trainings, planned sessions, you know, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, and then it got to a stage where they get to that age, it's very challenging as well, especially at that time as well. It's like, you know, they want to, similar to your journey in your story, you know what I mean? Like, you know, have influences, etc., etc. So there's a turning point in all of, if you've got to push through to that next level of football. Um, Same with loads of players, loads of people I know who could have made it as well. You know, so it is. It's just that one, and like, you know, there's so many players that I've come across as well that, you know, have the potential, but it just reaches that stage where, you know, they just didn't push through. Um, so yeah, it's from there. I sort of said to myself, because I was sort of running the club, treasurer, you know, it was just, yeah, it's too much, and it's all voluntary. You still got your full-time job, you know what I mean? So it just came to a point of just like, whoa, okay, let me just hand this over, you know what I mean, and just give it a break, you know, sort of thing. So that was sort of the journey uh, in football coaching development. But the reason why I stated parent coach is because, you know, even though you've done your level one and you're doing your, you know, your bits and pieces, and you've got, you know, your full-time job, and you know, you're always subconsciously saying, "Ah, oh, this is voluntary." So you're not really, you know, like going to put everything on it, you know, sort of. So and then you're not, you're coaching, but you're not. Like I say, if I said what I know now, if I knew then, I would have been a coach. Do you know what I mean? You know, so
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So and, you know, and I can totally admit it as well. You know what I mean? Because there's certain ways of saying things and talking things, and you know, and that's where I came to yourself on this program. I see how from the first couple of sessions, I saw how you carried yourself and how you talked to the participants, and you know, and I said to myself, yeah, I'm going to learn from this, from yourself and this experience. And we've had this conversation ourselves as well to develop myself as a coach. And I think, yeah, like, you know, with what I'm doing now, I think I'm sort of ready to sort of do the courses and progress and move up and try and get to wherever I can in coaching. So that's sort of the mentality and the level I'm at now. But if that answers your question of the journey,
Yeah, it does. It does, and it's like, obviously I've heard it before in terms of, and I know, you know, grassroots coaches. To me, they have to endure a lot and take on a lot, and they do a lot, and it's at some point they're gonna get burned out because they're doing so many things, and as you said, it's all voluntary, but you're doing so many different roles. You know, I know my brother was heavily involved in his son's grassroots team, and it's like, I take my hat off to everybody that's involved in grassroots football clubs. Even though I'm passionate about football in grassroots level, I've never had a interest in running clubs. It's very high maintenance for for what I wanted, and I'm more of a development man anyway. But I do see how hard it is. But just moving it back to the journey with Big,
Yes.
and you did mention a little bit about the holiday program, because we've had some really exciting, interesting conversations about your journey in the holiday program, especially when you came and done your first one. Because I watched, you know, there's not many people, there's quite a few people that's come and done holiday programs, because the way I do my holiday programs, as you know, is it's not just come and play football. It's very structured in a way where I'm trying to achieve so much things, including managing behavior and improving behavior, improving resilience, without the kids really knowing about it, because of the way things are being built, like the point systems that we use, and trying to get them to kind of see the evidence that they are developing as people and holistically during that period that they're on the holiday program, whether it's the Easter 2 weeks, the summer 3 weeks, or what. And I know that, you know, it was some adjustment, wasn't it, Clive? It was some adjustment when you first came and you done the holiday program first, and then you done it the second time, and then the third. And I watched the difference and the growth in that. But one thing I saw from day one was that you was the right man to run the camp. Not anyone can run the camp, and certainly the way I expect it to be run, because one thing that I've always had when I started doing the holiday camps, holiday football program since 2011, is that sense of trust from parents and security, that parents knew that their kids were safe, they were having fun, and they were learning. And from the first time you done the program, you had that locked. And then I think the second time, then you started embracing some of the way that the program was developed to do, and you then started seeing the results. Do you want to say a little bit about that sort of journey?
Yeah. So that is so I'll probably say through this journey in this podcast, you're going to hear various references to cousins and nephews and uncles. No, but my nephew Rufus, he's a part of the team as well, and we done the holiday camp with obviously the rest of the team as well. Solid team we've got, and I didn't know. I say, if you look at the journey and what we've been talking about, and even the programs that I started doing with Big, is football development. So even if a player has never played football before, we show them how to kick a ball technically right, how to maneuver, and just the basics of football, how to do it right. So that's what I started doing with Big. So when we done the holiday program, I'm on the mindset of, okay, this is football holiday program. It's football, you know, it's ballers. It's, you know, like kids from local teams and stuff. Teams are on holiday and they're coming down to do a football schooling, you know. And when we break it down, and it definitely is a football development program, but it's fun and it's activities, and you know, it's educational, and you know, it's a lot of different other things, you know, where as a coach you think you're just going to go in and set up a few drills and it's done, but no, it was challenge. It was like, okay, you know, it's managed. You got to manage this. You got to make sure, you know, structured. You got to make sure they have a lunch and all. You know what I mean? It was like, okay, right. You know. So, and as I say, you know, I'm sort of coming from strong background anyway in sort of people skills and hospitality and health and safety and stuff like that. So it's just religiously in there, So you use all your skills and but to go back in and to sort of pinpoint bits you're talking about, like what works is like, yes, the point system. Where they can understand, you can explain behavior issues with points, you could explain football with points. So it ticks all the boxes in just a level of communication and understanding between a coach or as a part of the team, coaching team, to a participant, So it really does sort of mold the program and how it works and how we want to deliver it. And as I say, I sort of, I can watch and learn as well, so I can see how you do things. And not to say I'm going to copy you to the T, but I'm going to take how you do things. And it's, it just keeps a consistency, which is easy for me as well. So I know the guidelines, so to speak, it's just sort of where was I going there? So it's just sort of like helps mold exactly what we're about. So me and Rufus sort of done our normal thing and sort of knew what we done in sort of like, because obviously we didn't just get thrown in, we did do a setup, what do you call that?
Induction day.
An induction. So we've done an induction. So we really know the setup and we know the structure and stuff. So it's just like I'd say by day 3 or so, you sort of get to know exactly the participants, behaviors, etc. And then you just hit the ground. We just hit the ground running from there. We just sort of knew how to sort of manage and get through. And no, it's good. It's really, really good. And as I said in sort of like the beginning, it's challenging and rewarding. What I mean, at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, no matter how many times I do it, I still find it challenging and rewarding. I think when you work with young people, that's what comes part and parcel with working with young people, because we are sometimes the only sort of vehicle they have to try to get some discipline and structure, depending on where they've come from or where their family structure or some of the challenges, etc., that they've got. And let's face it, kids would always be kids. We were kids at one point, and I was no angel myself. So it's always going to be a bit challenging, but it's always going to be that rewarding element when you see something that I think we've had plenty of conversations that when you see the end result of things, or when parents come and tell you, as they have done, they done it on your first session program, and they certainly done it on your third. But I know that you told me, and I watched and witnessed myself, how much you had learnt and embraced the expectation of the program, because it's not easy for somebody to come in and just do. It's not just football. There's a method. There's a madness to the method to the madness of why I structure things the way I have, and gave a lot of thought to it at the very, very beginning, trying to minimize dead time, where the kids ain't got that much opportunity to mess about, where we're trying to manage their behavior, helping them to develop resilience through the point system without them even realizing it, in a fun way. But if I'm right, Clive, I'm sure you started to see some of that evidence yourself in the change of some of their conduct and behaviour as different programs, as it went through the different programs that you was managing.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that came out quite strong, that you was actually managing the holiday programs, rather than just being part of it. I think there's been a couple of times where we've been doing it together, but most of the times you have been managing since you've been part of the team, and it's not anybody that I just want to say on air that I would entrust that role to, because one of the most important things to me and Big is the reputation that we've earned in the time that we've been delivering services, where parents can just have comfort and know that their children are in a safe place. That, you know, there's always issues to deal with, but parents can come to us and talk to us about certain things. You're always going to have little things with like, you know, disputes with kids. But in terms of transparency and fairness and safety, parents know that their kids are going to be in the right place. And once upon a time, if Lionel wasn't there, there were some parents that would get a little bit concerned. Who's doing the program, you know? But that changed when you came. They had the same confidence with you as they did with me, and that's, you know, for me to just wanting to really flag that up. So on that note, can I just, if you say, if there's anything that comes to mind of what do you think your main, what's it been, about 2 years now, Clive, right? That you've been kind of working with Big. So can I just ask, like, what do you think your main development areas have been? What have you kind of got from this experience and this journey with Big?
Yeah, definitely. There's it's definitely enhanced a style of coaching. Say tolerance. That I've always sort of not looked for the best player anyway, so I've always sort of been in development. We've never had the strongest, baddest team, you know what I mean? So we've always sort of had one or two that, you know, so people would say, oh, they shouldn't be on the team, you know what I mean, sort of thing. And I'm like, no, he'll get there, do you know? You know, so I've always sort of had that sort of development in it there. So it's definitely enhanced, and it's enhanced on just like sort of on every level really. There's a lot of levels, but every level, you know. Like say I've managed people, like adults, like I say run child's team, like in the background, voluntary, but you know, the main job was sort of managing people and, you know, organising things, making sure everything is how it should be and runs how it should be. So I've always had that. So that sort of using those skills made the transition in running and managing like holiday, something like a holiday program, made it not alien to me, so to speak. You know, the only difference was the participants and the behaviour issues, which we've done through Big. We've done just like programs to just get an understanding of kids with certain neurodiverse issues and stuff like that. So then it teaches you that, you know, even though a child could be labelled as bad, you know, it coming through our journey, through Big's journey as well, that's the rewarding part of it. So the challenging part of it is behaviour issues and just getting everybody to do the right thing and or to follow the program as it should be. But then you always get your disruptors and stuff like that. But then when you can use what tools we've got and to turn that around and knuckle that behaviour, and then to back up exactly the same thing what you're saying, so the beginning, middle, and end, is when the parents come to you and they say to you, oh, you know, you can see the difference in their child, or, you know, they respect you as a person, as a coach, and what you're trying to do, because they know their child.